Today we're going to be looking at Lunar Tides in the color Petal Pink. So this is actually a redo video, and let me show you why. So this is my original Petal Pink. Do you see the color of that? And then my current one? Yeah. First thing you might notice is that my swatches are labeled 1 through 12, but I do just want to emphasize that that is not synonymous with hair levels. I do different video clips and pictures and such throughout this video, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. They are human hair swatches, but they are not virgin hair. So that means they've been chemically colored, bleached, or treated at some point in their existences. 1 is green. I often get requests whenever I do pink or purple dyes to do it over green swatches, so let's see how that turns out. 2 is gray, 3 is a natural red, 4 is a soft black, and then 4 to 11 is a range that goes to platinum blonde, and then 12 is like a toned version of number 11. So I'm going to start by taking the color directly from the container, and I'll apply it to the top of each swatch. Then some people do like to dilute their dyes, so I will do a diluted version at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair can take color differently, plus different screens and monitors and whatnot can make colors look different. So please just use my video as a reference for how this could possibly maybe turn out for you. I was actually on the Lunar Tides Instagram a while back because I saw a swatch for Petal Pink and I was like, that is not at all how mine turned out. And I looked through the comments and other people had the same experience as me. Essentially, I found out that the one that I have is most likely defective. So if you saw that video, I'm very sorry.
Said it's a bad time. I tried to call back at your mom on the line. Is it just me? I hate how this feels to have to be fake, but the fake feels so real.
For the diluted section, since this is such a pastel color, we're gonna do equal parts. So that's gonna be 1 part of the dye to 1 part diluter. I do get questions about what diluter is, so my simple quick answer is basically that it's something that lightens the color of your semi-permanent dye. Now usually each brand will make their own version of a diluter, which can be really nice because it'll keep the same consistency as your color. But because I have so many different brands and such that I'm using, to keep it fair, I always just use a plain white conditioner as my diluter. I'm gonna let this sit for about 3-ish hours, just so the color has some time to fully absorb into the swatches. I will then rinse it out, and when it's dry, I'll meet you back here, and we can do some comparisons. Alright, before we get too far into this, I do just quickly want to say that I have an affiliate code with Lunar Tides, so you can use code FLOXY to get an extra 15% off. And again, this is an affiliate code, so I do make a small commission anytime my code is used, so thank you very much if you do use my code. I also want to reiterate that, again, my swatches are not virgin hair. So virgin hair tends to be less porous, so it usually has a harder time absorbing semi-permanent color. Therefore, some semi-permanents won't take, and if they do take, they often will wash out quickly. So again, keep that in mind when doing your hair at home. This is a pastel color as well, so something like this would probably be not as recommended for anyone with virgin hair. So even if you do see a slight difference on the slightly darker swatches, it's because these swatches are going to be more porous than virgin hair would be. Speaking of pastel, I am genuinely shocked that my other Lunar Tides Petal Pink did anything. I think it was pretty clear that it was defective. So again, if you saw that video, I'm very sorry. This is the new updated one. On my past swatches with the defective one, it turned out kind of like the diluted section, if not even a little bit lighter. So one was originally green, I would say if you're trying to cover green, this isn't going to be dark enough, I don't think, to do anything. It does kind of tone down the green, I would say, especially on the direct eye portion. It looks a little less green, but overall, I still see green peeking through on both the top and the bottom. It's just not as vibrant as it was before. 2 was gray, and that one really pulled out the cool undertones in this pink. I wouldn't say that this pink is like a purpley pink. It's not that cool, but it is leaning on the cool end of the spectrum. But on the number 2, it does look a lot more purpley. So 3 was the natural red. I see a little bit of a difference on both the top and the bottom. Again, if your hair is virgin, I don't think this would work that much. I think a slightly more pigmented color would probably be better for something like that. But I will say that the reddish undertones did seem to kind of play a role, because sometimes the number 3 can look like maybe like number 6 or 7 on the direct eye portion, but this time I definitely see a lot more warmth in the top than I do on the more brown swatches. 4 was the soft black. I do not see a difference there. 5, there might be a very slight difference, but like it's so minuscule that I'm going to say there isn't a difference. Even 6, I do see a difference from the top than I do on the bottom. It changed the undertone ever so slightly, like it's just a little bit more pinky warm, but still looks brown overall. Even number 7, it's kind of the same thing where I see maybe a little bit more pink than I did in number 6, but overall still looks pretty brown. I'd say for the diluted section, you don't really start to see it even a little bit until number 8. And it kind of has the same idea where it's changing the undertone a little bit, but it still looks close to like a dark blonde or like a light brown. The direct eye, I do see definitely a lot more pink coming through than I did on the other more brown swatches. But because it's not a super blonde underneath, it almost still kind of has like a natural look to it. I'd say 9 is where you see more pink than anything coming through. But again, even though it took on the 9 and the 10, it looks the most saturated on the number 11 and the most intentional. So I would only do it on hair that's not platinum blonde if you know that your hair is very absorbent, because I would hate for you to try and dye your hair and then it doesn't do anything. For the diluted section on 9 and 10, it kind of has like a rose gold look to it, but then on the number 11, it's definitely more pastel pink. And then 12 is the toned swatch. That one kind of looks in between 2 and 11, which is pretty normal, but I would say this time it actually leans a little bit closer to 2. It's a very, very, very cool tone on the number 12. So as for comparisons, I don't have anything that is exactly the same, but I wanted to compare some similar colors. So we're going to start with Arctic Fox in the color Frose. This is comparable to number 12, 11, 10, and 9. So hopefully it's picking up on camera. The Arctic Fox Frose is a little bit brighter, I would say. The Petal Pink definitely is a little bit more soft. Now the interesting thing I noticed about Frose is that in some lighting it looks a little bit less saturated, not quite muted, but then in some other lighting, like maybe more direct lighting, it has almost like a really bright quality to it, but not quite bright enough to be like neon. It's definitely a little bit more warm in undertone, so the Petal Pink leans slightly more in the purple end of the spectrum. I'd also say it's probably a little bit lighter as well. And with Frose, I think you definitely want your hair to be platinum before doing that one. The other comparison I wanted to look at today is Uberliss in the color Soft Pink Dahlia. This is comparable to number 12, 11, 10, and 9. So hopefully you can see what I mean when I say that the Petal Pink is cool, but it's not so cool that it leans into looking something like the Dahlia. The Dahlia definitely has much more purple in it. The Dahlia also seems to be slightly more muted as well, but I wouldn't say that means that the Petal Pink is bright or anything. It's just a little less soft. And I also think the Dahlia is a little bit more pigmented. I think it's more obvious on the diluted section. So I still think for any color that's light, trying to get your hair as light as possible is the best move. But if your hair does struggle to take color sometimes, maybe something a little bit more pigmented like the Dahlia could be better for you, depending on your preference. All right, now I'd like to get into the before and after clips. Those, as well as anything after this point in the video, are all gonna be done in natural lighting.
Absent thought, maybe I should take you up on that ride, 'cause I'm out of my mind. And it's a little too late, there's just enough time. If we let it all out, could I swallow my pride? And I should just walk home, but we're both scared of being alone. And that's how you throw it all away in a small town. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. And it's a slow burn, playing in your mind like a rerun. I've been trying to hide it, but I can't run from the way I feel when you're next to me. Quiet type said it's a bad time. I tried to call back, got your mom on the line. Is it just me? I hate how this feels to have to be fake, but the fake feels so real. Guess I should have known that you'd never call me back. And that's how you throw it all away in a small town. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. And it's a slow burn, playing in your mind like a rerun. I've been trying to hide it, but I can't run from the way I feel when you're next to me. So I don't have to see you anymore. And that's how you throw it all away in a small town. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now. And it's a slow burn, playing in your mind like a rerun. I've been trying to hide it, but I can't run from the way I feel when you're next to me.
I hope my video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands that do not test on animals. Thank you so very, very much to my patrons. Thank you if you decide to use my code. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.
That's how you throw it all away in a small town. Everybody's talking 'cause they know now.